In response to DA Hochman's statement today regarding the resentencing hearing, defense attorney Mark Garagos strongly criticized Hochman's position, accusing the DA of serially abusing the Menendez brothers by misrepresenting facts and ignoring key evidence. Garagos argued that Hochman was attempting to undermine the substantial evidence supporting the brothers' long-standing claims of sexual and emotional abuse by their father. Garagos emphasized that all living family members, including relatives who previously believed the brothers' guilt, now fully support their release and have spoken publicly about the abuse they endured. Ana Maria Gibralt, a cousin of the Menendez brothers, also voiced her disappointment in DA Hochman's remarks. Gibralt has been an outspoken advocate for the brothers' release, asserting that their traumatic upbringing played a significant role in the tragic events that unfolded. She has worked alongside the Justice for Erik and Lyle Coalition, a family-led group that supports the brothers' bid for resentencing and emphasizes the impact of their abuse. The resentencing hearing remains scheduled for March 20th and 21st, 2025, where the court will hear arguments from both sides and review the presented evidence. The outcome of this hearing may determine whether the Menendez brothers' sentences are adjusted or if they will continue serving life in prison without parole. I would like to further summarize that the events of August 1989 cannot be excused, but they must be understood in light of the extreme and prolonged abuse Erik and Lyle endured at the hands of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. This abuse, emotional, physical, and sexual, was corroborated by an overwhelming number of witnesses, including family members, friends, coaches, and teachers, many of whom testified to either observing abuse directly or seeing significant clues that strongly suggested it. Additionally, these witnesses described odd and aggressive behaviors by both Jose and Kitty Menendez, which further supported the brothers' accounts. This crime was not a pattern of behavior, nor did it reflect a propensity for violence. Instead, it was an isolated, desperate, and tragic act driven by their overwhelming fear that, at any moment, their abusers would take their lives to keep the family's secret from being exposed, as they would lose everything they have worked for. This, my friend, is the concept of imperfect defense. Victims of abuse face numerous challenges, including the fear of retaliation if they disclose their abuse, the likelihood of not being believed, and the minimization of their experiences. Reporting to the police often results in insufficient evidence to take action, and attempts to escape can lead to being found and subjected to even more severe abuse and retaliation. Additionally, victims may struggle with feelings of shame, guilt, and isolation, further complicating their ability to seek help. In hindsight, a manslaughter conviction would have been more appropriate to reflect the mitigating circumstances surrounding the case. The second trial compounded this injustice. Key testimony regarding the abuse Erik and Lyle endured was severely limited, and the jury was presented with only the option of first-degree redrum. No lesser charges, such as second-degree redrum or manslaughter, were offered for consideration. This narrow scope denied the jury the opportunity to appropriately weigh the years of trauma leading up to the crime. The broader context of the first trial also raises concerns regarding timing. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office faced intense public and political pressure to secure convictions in high-profile cases following the controversial acquittals of O.J. Simpson and the officers involved in the Rodney King beating. This pressure likely influenced decisions to restrict evidence of abuse and portray the case as one of cold-blooded redrum rather than a complex situation rooted in years of mistreatment. Since their conviction, Erik and Lyle have demonstrated exemplary behavior in prison. They've served for over 30 years as model inmates, mentoring others, fostering a positive prison environment, and expressing deep remorse for their actions. Their transformation underscores their capacity for rehabilitation and their readiness to rejoin society as reformed individuals. Recent legislative changes further highlight the need to reconsider their sentence. California law now states that individuals under the age of 26 at the time of their crime cannot serve sentences exceeding 50 years and are eligible for parole after 25 years. Erik and Lyle, who were 21 and 18 at the time of their offense, fall squarely within this framework. Continuing to hold them without the possibility of parole contradicts the principles of this law. They have served more than enough time for their crime and were further punished unjustly by being separated from each other for 22 years. So within the next couple of weeks, as this case is presented to the judge at the resentencing hearing, I respectfully urge the judge to consider the following points. 1. Overwhelming testimony of abuse. Numerous witnesses testified to either witnessing the abuse or observing significant signs of it, as well as the troubling behavior of Jose and Kitty Menendez. 2. Hindsight on conviction. A manslaughter charge would have more accurately reflected the circumstances and motivations behind their actions. 3. Trial limitations. The second trial restricted testimony about abuse and denied the jury the option of considering lesser charges. 4. Legislative changes. Current laws recognize that young adults under 26 should not serve life sentences without parole and should be eligible for parole after 25 years. 5. Rehabilitation. Erik and Lyle have proven their capacity for growth and reform through their exemplary conduct in prison. 6. Isolated nature of the crime. Their actions were directed solely at their abusers and were not part of a pattern of violent behavior. Justice is not merely about punishment. It is also about fairness, understanding, and the potential for redemption. Erik and Lyle Menendez have more than demonstrated their remorse and capacity for change. Considering their rehabilitation, the overwhelming evidence of abuse, and recent legal reforms, I plead to the judge to grant their immediate release.